Hey, how did I go from wanting to be anyone other than me to loving who I am? Hi, I'm Dr. Chris, Accelerated Healing Specialist, and I'm sure some of you out there can relate to this. This was what it was like to be in depression. This is what it's like to be in anxiety. It's, wow, why am I stuck in this? Why am I living this life? Why do I have to feel this way every day? I don't want to wake up. I want to stay sleeping. I don't like who I am. I wish I was somebody else. That guy's got better hair. That guy has got a better smile. That guy has everything. That guy's living the perfect life, and I'm stuck living in this. Even no matter how good my life seemed to anyone else, and I never asked, why did I not like it? Why did I not like me? So in my case, I would say the best way I could put it was I always have been a little bit different. At this point, I realize that these are unique skills that I can use to help other people. My story itself has put me through a lot of challenges that have been my growth. I'll have discussions with patients, clients, colleagues, and I keep going back to that the devil, as I call it, or the challenges or the hardships, is in a way my shadowboxing partner, my best friend. And the events that life threw and throws at me have been put there because they have been part of my growth. I didn't like a lot of them at the time. Frankly, I'm still not in love with some of them. But I wouldn't be who I am now without all of them. And if I want to push them away, I'm not growing, I'm not getting better. So to bring myself back to where a lot of, well, to where you are right now, this is fast forwarding. To go to where you are right now is you're not happy. You're not who you want to be. You want to be someone else. You want to be smarter, faster, prettier, richer, happier, whatever it is. That's all inside of you. It's all how you see it. It's where I used to be. It was me comparing myself to how other people portrayed themselves and how I perceived it. So, what did I do? I tried to become like them. I started to build a character around myself because I didn't feel like who I was really who someone else wanted to connect with or to see. I really didn't feel like who I was could be loved as that person. So I wanted to be who people could love. I wanted to be who I thought the world was looking for. And then I learned a really hard lesson. And it took me a very long time. I'm exceptionally stubborn. No one likes a phony. And people can smell it a mile away. So what I ended up doing by wanting to be liked was pushing people farther away and pushing myself farther away. I was rejecting who I was. I was rejecting my uniqueness, my talents, my skills because I wanted to be like everyone else. I was letting the world tell me, not even, no, I was disempowering myself and listening to what I thought the world was telling me. I wasn't even hearing it clearly. So there was a huge amount of rejection of myself by myself. And a pretty good degree of self hate. That's what depression is. It's hating yourself. I think Jim Carrey said it really well when he's like, unhappiness is situational. Depression is you hate the character that you're playing. And it carries into the body. The body gets tired, the body gets fatigued. All of the cells in the body are in this absolute garbage that was in my mind and my feelings. So I was literally destroying my world because I didn't think my world was right. And I was trying to make it something that it wasn't. Interestingly, now where I am is I'm working to shape my world into what I love. But it's a completely different process. To you, it probably sounds very similar. It could not be more similar. So, how did I get from point A to point B? By facing what I was running from. And the first step to facing it for me was seeing that I was running. And the first step to that was getting kicked in the teeth a few hundred times, because I couldn't even see that I was running until the world stuck it right in front of my face and made it unavoidable. And it's it's held like, if I'm not being honest with myself now, I feel it in my body. It's uncomfortable. I can't lie. I don't like it. It feels disgusting. And I used to lie. I used to be less than forthcoming. And if you've ever told untruths, unless you're seriously a pathological human being, and I hope you're not, but if you are, still work towards coming into your truth, you'll feel even better. Telling and holding lies is held in the body, and it becomes increasingly uncomfortable and increasingly unpalatable, because it's a disconnect with who I was. So it becomes increasingly unpleasant to not be honest with myself. So I tell patients all the time, if they lie to me, and they don't do it on purpose, if I say, how is this, how is your arm feeling? Oh, it feels better. Are you sure? Move it this way. Oh, it's not better yet. Okay. So they'll lie to me, but not on purpose, because they lie to themselves first. There's a bias towards pleasing other people, pleasing ourselves, being projecting an image. So I had to become honest with myself. I had to become honest with what I want out of life, what I want from myself, my strengths and my weaknesses. And I'm still working on being able to talk to people I don't know, because that's something I'm not comfortable with. And if there's anything I'm not comfortable with, it shows me where I'm out of concert with my world. So if I can't talk to someone without being awkward, where's the fear in me? Because if someone comes up to me and starts talking, I'm pretty comfortable. I'm comfortable talking to you. But a stranger, oh, and other people can do it very easily. So I see right now, that's one of the things I work on. How do I become authentic in that, and not put on a character, not default to some clownish behavior, but be present and add value to that person's day by being present, by listening, by touching at a human level. It's phenomenal when we begin to connect as humans, how powerful it is. When we can separate ourselves, when I separate myself from all the things I'm told. Oh, I am a man, I'm this age, I'm whatever, political, blah, blah, blah. Everything is to separate us. But in the end, we are human. We connect. We are drawn together magnetically. And as I'm more in touch with myself, I feel that draw. I feel that compassion for other people that I didn't used to feel when I put up the walls. So the first step I had was taking down those walls. The walls are built by the rational mind. The rational mind, rational, logical, deductive, reductive, and separate. That's a lot of the traits of it. So, in order to protect me from getting hurt, I would do what was safe. I would do what I believed other people were doing. I would do whatever seemed appropriate. But it wasn't what my ethics were telling me to do deep down. It wasn't what my heart was telling me to do deep down. I was putting on an act in order to be secure in society, to be secure financially, to be secure relationship, to be secure job, blah, 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 blah. But I wasn't being authentic. So that's where a lot of us are trapped. That's, I'm sure, a problem you're facing right now. How to find your authenticity. Because until you do that, the fear keeps coming up. What other people think, how you're being judged by other people. Well, guess what? The best part about judgment is the ones that judge the most hold themselves in the harshest light. Do not let that touch you. You start letting that happen, you take it out on yourself. You harm yourself. You don't allow yourself to shine and to give your gift, not your gift, your gifts to the world. You hold them back because you're afraid of being seen. So this took a while for me to get here where I'm comfortable just talking, opening up and being vulnerable because this is where truth is. Truth comes through vulnerability. Connection comes through vulnerability. You will not connect with another person by being safe. It's only a superficial at best. If we want to connect, we are human. And part of being human is being vulnerable. So, through that vulnerability and being comfortable when I interact with vulnerability, I'm able to connect at deeper levels more quickly and establish a human connection where I value myself, I value the other person. It is reciprocal and it feels good. That is probably the most important step I took. Trusting myself enough to be vulnerable. Now, second step, trust. I trust myself and I trust my world. By proxy, I trust other people and I get burned on a regular basis and I learn and I grow and I become better. I was speaking with a colleague earlier today and I have made quite a few bad decisions on people that I've paired up with this year alone. And I've learned something from each one of them. There's one particular person, I call him Man Bun. Bad decision. He's a complete phony. Now I'm better at spotting the phonies. Then I signed up with people that I believe if I'm going to have someone help me, they have to be ahead of me in terms of whatever I was looking at. These people in particular were for the business side, and they were not able to help me because they still couldn't understand what I do. And I had to part ways. And I've learned a lot from all of these people. And then I found really great people in the process. And they're helping me to grow as a person, as a practitioner, as a businessman, as just as a human being. But even the wins and the losses are the wins are a win and the loss is a lesson. Learning how to lose and that's part of life. And to get back up every time I get knocked down and to get back up stronger and wiser because I obviously had something to learn from that. Taking every event and seeing where the positive is, even if it's not a big positive. If I learn a little bit, I'm that much better when I get back up. And I love that too. I don't push it away. I don't play victim. That's a huge part of me trusting myself, trusting my world, loving my world. And I really do believe that what I put out to the world is given back to me. And so I am working to refine what I give and to make it as authentic and intentional as I can because that feels right to me. So that's a form of self love and trust that takes a while to build. But at the very least, when I started on that, it was a very simple why wouldn't I do that? How does it harm me to not do that? And how does it harm me to do it? And ultimately, the equation was by not trusting myself, I feel lousy. By trusting myself, sure, I'll make a couple of mistakes and I'll learn and grow from them, and I feel great. I feel better all the time. Yes, there will be some form of betrayal occasionally, but what was I sacrificing to stay safe? I was sacrificing everything. I was living in a shell, and it sucked, and I hated life, and I hated myself. So yeah, I'm sure I'll get a few more lessons. The best part about lessons I've found is now that I'm listening, my lessons are becoming more fun, more interactive, more gracious. And as I'm learning more and more, and this woman, Katie, I wish I remembered her last name. She's on YouTube. She's awesome. She says it too. The rational mind is a trap. The rational mind is trying to keep me safe, and my rational mind is really good. And it was really good at keeping me safe, but it wasn't good at keeping me happy. Because the rational mind can only make its deductions based upon what it sees in the concrete world. Anything beyond what's in the evidence field, it cannot process. So it's really using a very incomplete data set. And it's making these compelling arguments, and I'm believing it because it's my mind. And then I realized it's a prison because it's also of the three intelligences, left brain, right brain, body, or head, heart, and body. Of the three intelligences, it's the only one that can lie. And it's also the loudest. So being able to get beyond it involves training and trust and just being open and receptive to the world. So right there we have really me not listening to that. That is the devil. Me not listening to the devil in my ear. I started to really love myself because it was saying, oh, you're not good enough. Oh, you're not this enough. Oh, you're not that enough. And here's the evidence. You're not handsome enough because this guy, look at how good looking he is. Or you're not fast enough. This guy runs faster. You're not smart enough. This guy is smarter. You're just not enough. Why would you do anything? I used to trust all the experts. Then I see half the time they're wrong. They have to correct it 5 years later. And I've learned to really look inside and see what my heart says. And I still listen, but I also am not going to close doors unless I feel it's appropriate. Um, so that's learning to trust myself and then learning to love myself because, frankly, what choice do I have? It feels a lot better to love myself than to hate myself. Either way, I am this character. So the loving myself, that was a challenge that I really ran into a lot in spirituality. Spirituality, a lot of it is toxic as hell because it tells you, oh, the body is not really real. Some say the body is the temple, others say the body is not real. And that's not true. The body is a reflection of our consciousness. The body is very real in this reality. This reality, we could argue how true it is. It's more similar to a dream than it is to being concrete. Fine. But it's still where I am right now at this moment. And there's a reason for that. It's not up to me to decide. It is what it is. So if I don't love that person, if I don't love this person, and if you don't love that person, what are we doing? Who can, if I can't love what I am and who I am, how can I love anyone else? I can't. It becomes codependency. It becomes I need someone else. And that creates toxic relationships. That creates unhealthy relationships. So the self love really becomes as we love ourselves, our cup runneth over. And I took a Louise Hay course. It was pretty interesting. That was about a year ago. It was phenomenal. I strongly recommend it. Um, and I've done a ton of work on myself, finding the areas of myself that I avoid. Because in order to fully love myself, I have to know myself. In order to know myself, I have to see myself. And this all comes into shadow work, and I have other recordings on it. I'll cover it briefly. But in order to really love myself, I have to see the unique offerings I have. I have to be able to be still in meditation, in presence, um, and even interacting with other people because they reflect back to me who I am. Authentic interactions are beautiful. So, the shadow work, the reason I always go into this, because when I was in toxic spirituality, which is called bypassing or avoidance, and I've coached a couple of women that were very involved in this, and they're very difficult. One of them got extremely agitated because the story is real. And she'd been told repeatedly the story's not real. That's what I did during my depression. I tried that. I tried the escapism of the story's not real. I can ask, why do you have a dream? You could give me a lot of answers. My answer to it is because I have the whole dream, what's left in the morning is a story and how I feel about it. That's the dream essence ultimately. I can learn in a dream, I can get a story, blah, blah, blah. It's beautiful. So if somebody is saying the story's not real, then what is? Now we're going into nihilism. And it's a stage, we can do it, we can explore it. It's kind of fun to play in for a little while, but if you get trapped there, please don't. It's like being in quicksand. You definitely want someone to throw you a rope. Otherwise, it becomes a very painful pathological trap. Now I will get to the shadow work because this is the best. Shadow work is not some fancy, convoluted, highfalutin thing. Shadow work is being able to confront our fears. And it's usually done in the 3D, in this physical world. A lot of times, the first real instances of it is standing up for yourself, respecting yourself enough, and loving yourself enough to be like, no, I won't do that. So, a good example is we have a tendency towards toxic people pleasing. I know I do. And Ram Dass, amazing man, he gave a talk once and he's like, if you have a husband and wife and suddenly the husband doesn't tell the wife something in order to protect her because he thinks she'll feel a certain way. Now they no longer have communication because he determined her reaction and didn't trust her enough to handle the truth. So he withheld the truth. He broke communication. That's people pleasing. I found for myself, I would say yes when I didn't want to, and I would do things that were not authentic to me in order to make other people happy. Why would I have to carry someone else's load if we're all adults? This is part of growing up. It's being able to say no in a healthy way that protects and provides for me and my loved ones without creating this resentment that can come up when how many times do I hear, oh, I'm the one at work that does all of this? Well, do you all have the same position? Yes. Or why are you doing it then? Well, because blah, blah, blah. That is where shadow work comes in. If they honestly are doing 3 times the work of everyone else, then it's a level of do they respect themselves enough to speak up? Yes, I did this with one of my clients. She came back the next week. She was over the moon. She was a completely different person because she took ownership. She stood up and valued and loved herself enough to speak up. And her employer was like, you know what, you're right, and I'm going to work with you. So she stood up and was validated and got to see the value in herself and saw that others saw the value in her. And that's an expression of self love. That's a way of bringing part of ourself back in and becoming more whole, more complete, and the energy flows. We just, it opens up so many doors. One simple act of standing up. And it's not only that, it's if I'm afraid to sit at the table with the person by themselves because people might look at me funny and whatever. If I don't have the courage to do that, and I do it, I help the person, but I've been resistant to that for some reason. That feels great because I just worked on me not being willing to connect, not seeing the value in me going to that table, not me being afraid that, as a kid, in the lunchroom, oh, you're hanging out with a loser or whatever. Me being afraid that somebody might say something because I'm doing what I know to be right. And I've lived too much of my life like that to do it anymore. I still have a few habits and patterns that I'm working on. I'm not saying I'm there yet either. But as I go through this journey, yes, that is self love. That's how we build our self love. And the more I do that, the more I love myself because I see that I have something unique and special to offer to other people and they are receptive. And even if they're not, I still know that I have something to give. So, this is why I'm telling you this because I was there, the anxiety, the depression, I understand it is not pleasant, but it's also not permanent. No matter what anyone tells you, you can overcome it. And so much of this course, and say, I don't say this enough, but a lot, basically, this entire course, that's what it's for. All the people I talk to that know business and marketing and sales and all, they're like, no, that's not that. Nobody's going to go for that. So I say what people want to hear. It doesn't change the content. It only is. It's the outreach because it's all the same thing. In the end, If you want to be able to manifest well, you have to clear that shadow. You have to love yourself. You have to determine that you're worthy for what you're going to receive. If you want to have better health, you have to love yourself. You have to be happier and clear the internal conflict that's affecting your body. And if you want to feel better about yourself, all those movements and everything else that I teach, the rapid release system, that by improving the body improves the mindset, and that also works insanely. That releases so much stuck trauma from the body that the spirit and the mind are opened. The meditations help the body to relax and release the tension. They help the mind to still and come to peace. They help us connect to our intuition. So all of this stuff is one big package. In the end, my story is going from not wanting to be me, wanting to be anyone other than me, to not wanting to trade who I am for anyone in the world. So that's my gift to you. And all of the stuff, I have it out there on basically everything. But if you want more information, if you are looking to learn, I do have a couple of spots open for coaching. Otherwise, it's going to be a little bit of a wait list, but I do have the program opening up on School. Um, I believe we have a cohort starting pretty soon. And drop a comment, send me a message, contact me somehow. I have my scarsdalehealth.com as the business. That's an easy way to get me also. And I'll make a video on whatever it is, or we could arrange a one-on-one if that's available at the time. So I'm Dr. Chris. I'm an accelerated healing specialist, acupuncturist, coach, hypnotherapist, all this stuff. Really, none of them fully encompass what I do. What I really try to do is bring the joy, the wonder, the peace, the love, the wholeness back into people's lives, because I can't do that, but I can help throw that rope down for people to climb out of the holes. Anyway, thanks for tuning in. I'll talk to you next time.